Welcome back into another episode of the Phoenix Truth Rising Show with the Spaceman 2.0. Here to help you grow in the knowledge and wisdom of truth, and the truth will make you free. With the best history lesson and spiritual insights on the planet, exposure of the Illuminati's plan of world conquest and control is the death knell to the New World Order. So having said that, let's get back into our flight instructions. How to get on the Phoenix, pretty much, to be lifted off if in time of need. Having said that, today is 10/10 and 2025. If you add up the 2025, it comes to a 9, and therefore it's a 9/11 backwards. So it's a day that a lot of things are happening in the financial world, especially in crypto. I'll need to say no more from that. But like Rothschild said, Sir Amstrad Rothschild said, when there's blood in the streets, buy, buy, buy. I bet he meant that when also there was a revolution, right? Not just when the red candles are happening in the stocks. But 1917 with the Russian Revolution, the Bolshevik Russian Revolution, they murdered 60 million Christians in the streets there. And in Kiev, blood run up 3 feet high in certain spots. Now, having said that, it's important why we follow the laws and understand that with these next 3 laws I'm about to tell you, that they're some of the most important laws you can ever follow. So let's go over this one, which is also one of the 7 deadly sins, or the 12 deadly sins. You must not covet or envy that which belongs to your neighbor. Let us first define the words covet and envy. Covet means to long for something belonging to another. Covetous means excessively desirous of something greedy. Envy means a feeling of resentment or discontent over another's superior attainments, endowments, or possessions. So the literal meaning of this law is that you must not, because of your own insecure, inferior feelings and lack of self-worth, long to have something another has, such as money, a new car, a skill, or talent. And then on top of longing for this object another has, you must not then resent the person who has attained that which you feel you desire, but you have not created, actually because of your insecure, inferior feelings and lack of self-worth. See also recognizing the Antichrist within. That's coming up at the end of the book. What transpires when you become a covetous and envious is that you become wrapped up in your greed and resentment, and you will not be taking personal responsibility for your manifested illusion. You will continue to create the perceived lack, and eventually you will be consumed by the effects of covetous and envious feelings, which must often result in the various manifestations of self-punishment, i.e., anger, guilt, criticism, jealousy, and depression. Aren't we learning so much today? Law number 11. You must not impose nor force your free will upon the free will of another, also known as the law of non-interference. Wow, this is going on right now, right? For the last 125 years in Palestine, 127 years actually. This law was given forth by God so that the free will and soul evolution of each fragment would not be infringed upon without permission from God within, especially by the adversaries of God with more awareness of their power. This is each fragment's God-given protection so that there is justness in their individual process of God potential unfoldment toward the one. Also, it prevents even your benevolent brothers from interfering or assisting without permission from the Holy Father. You see, during each life stream of each fragment, there is present the opportunity and the potential for divine choice through the free will experiences of each fragment. The young souls begin to unfold their godness through the lessons they learn in each life stream experienced. In other words, they learn by experience to know God within them, and what thoughts, words, and deeds keep them in the darkness and ignorance of what their true God potential is. Now, you may be asking yourself, what about the tremendous evil influence upon this planet? Why is it allowed by God? The reason is this. Even the Satans, or adversaries of God, were not only created creatures of God, but also were given free will. God is simply giving his adversary creations their opportunity to grow into their potential of godness and divine holy light. But because of their limitedness in behavior, meaning ego, selfish separation from the one, their reality or playground of experience must also be limited by God. They are bound by their own choice to the lowest levels described as the first to fifth physical manifested experience. You see, the fallen ones have self-imposed limitations by their choice to be adversarial and separate from their creator. But they are always given opportunities to see the light of truth in the oneness of all. The rules are strict, and the fallen ones know the rules, to remain ego separate from God, but remain in their game of manipulation and deception. For example, if you feel the whisperings of the Antichrist within you, you can demand in the name of the Holy Father God and or Jesus Christ Sananda that all dark fragments and energies leave your space immediately. They must go, but they can hang around the periphery of your energy field and wait for a weak spot in your protected shield. This is why the importance of asking God for his white light shield of love, protection, guidance, power, wisdom, integrity, and courage. So you must ask the Father within you to please show you that which you need to in order to serve his will. Hence the importance of, not my will, Father, but in all things let thy will be done. This sincere invocation is what keeps you on your path of service to God and the creation, and out of the folly of ignorance and perceived separation where exists the dark brotherhood or antichrists. You may begin to see that many of you ones have now experienced many thousands or even millions of life streams on these lower levels by your choice to be or remain ignorant to your own God potential and connection to the one all that is. Here's an obvious description of this process of discovery by our beloved brother Germain. So remember that you must call on the shield of God's light, love, protection, guidance, power, wisdom, integrity, and courage. Okay, every second of every day, if you have to, you call it in the name of God, the creation, Christos, command, demand, all negative energy cease to exist in my holy space now and always. That's what I say. And you might have to say that 1,000 times a day. You might have to say that just 10 times. It depends on the energy and how they're coming at you and how you're feeling. Listen up, because some of the greatest spiritual truth is presented through the Phoenix Journals. All dimensions of the creation exist simultaneously. You simply have only your conscious awareness in this, the third dimension. As you work and live in this dimensional experience, you, with the help of your spiritual teachers, are stretching your awareness to fourth, fifth, and sometimes even higher dimensional levels. It is not a vertical stretch as you perceive things linearly. It is an expansive, all-encompassing stretch of awareness. Your awareness expands to the level of your understanding. When you have learned or some particular lessons, when you have owned the lesson, it frees your awareness just a bit more, stretching, moving, growing within the mind of the universal I am, the one, all that is. So let me remind you, when you step in that proverbial dog crapola every day, you have to ask yourself, why was I not aware? It's not about guilt or shame. It's why was I not aware? It's not about blame. It's why was I not aware? Having said that, I still have lots to learn in that area, of course. Now, the reason that your benevolent brothers, the hosts of heaven, have been sent to assist you is that many of you have prayed to God for freedom from the bondage of your self-imposed ignorance. They are sent here in answer to your asking God for his divine guidance and assistance. They are your brothers of higher awareness to service in light of God and the creation. You see, some of you have recognized the folly of the Antichrist within you and the influence that mass consciousness has allowed the Satans or adversaries to have over you and this beloved planet Earth. You are tired and frankly bored with this illusion, with the being that the adversary of godness. With being the adversary of godness. You want your freedom. You want to claim or reclaim his holy lighted presence within you. It is time for graduation, friends, to higher levels of life. You will each now find or awaken to your divinity of oneness, or, and this is very important to understand, you will remain bound to these lower levels for perhaps another millennium, before another opportunity is granted by the expanding awareness of the God self within by the one. Remember, there's a separation happening. Some are staying on this plane and some are moving into the fourth, fifth, and sixth and higher dimensional planes, just like it says, all dimensions of creation exist simultaneously. Remember, though, that the lighted hosts of God may assist you and give instructions and truth through the maze of lies and deception, but they cannot do it for you. You each must reclaim your own power of the divine one within you. None can do it for another, so it is wise to pay close attention to your instructions for conscious immortality. You will either serve God or you will serve your altered ego self. It is up to you. Number 12. Now, this is one of the most important laws. I'm going to try to get through this in the next few minutes, and hopefully don't get cut off, but this is one of the most important laws. Judging others is the most important one problem on the planet, causing all wars, frustration, and resentments and animosity between our fellow man, between all peoples, is judging. Now, not discerning the laws of behavior. It's about judging the soul and having animosity and anger and hatred. So we have to let go of that, have forgiveness and understanding while we have judgment of the behavior. So it's discerning the behavior if it's for or against the laws of God, not the person or the soul of the other. Okay, so you cannot judge a soul on the other. That's what I want to get through to you. And what is very important for you to have your own forgiveness and lightheartedness is to be forgiving of others while you can discern the truth and say, yeah, that guy's an idiot for stealing 3 times in a row when he got caught twice by the police. Or instead of saying, oh, that guy's like a real a-hole for, and then he's going to hell because he stole, or whatever it is. So you don't have to curse anyone. And that's my main point. Continue this law in the next episode, and I'll just try to finish it off with some wise words from the greatest master teacher in the universe, Emmanuel. And Emmanuel, okay, you must not judge others, but you must wisely judge all behavior and actions which are contrary to the laws of balance of God and the creation. And Emmanuel wisely told the people, judge not falsely, lest you be judged falsely. For with whatever judgment you judge, so will you be judged. And with whatever measure you measure, so will you be measured. Therefore, judge according to the logic of the laws of nature, which are from the creation, for they alone are true and accurate. What do you see but the splinter in your brother's eye, and are not aware of the sliver in thine own eye? You hypocrite, first pull the sliver out of your own eye, and then see how you can pull the splinter out of your brother's eye. That one lesson is very most important. Everyone should be remembering that when you start to have opinions and judgments of others. First, learn the laws of nature and of the creation, their logic, before you judge and want to see the mistakes of your fellow man. First, learn through the laws of nature and of the creation your own mistakes, so that you can correct the mistakes of your fellow man. You should never give sacred things unto the dogs, nor throw your pearls before the swine, lest they step on them with their feet and turn on you and tear you apart. For verily, verily, I say unto you, do not throw your spiritual treasures into the dirt, and do not waste them on those who are unworthy, for they do not thank you, and they will tear you apart. For their understanding is small, and their spirit is weak. End quote. And they called his name Emmanuel. Now that last quote is finally one that I'm understanding. The last paragraph is leave a good distraction alone. Meaning, if you see 2 people having some situation, sometimes it's just better to leave it alone if you don't see violence taking place or anything like that. I'm not saying to get in between anything. I'm just saying sometimes what you see the judge is really a distraction, and it's really something that you should be leaving alone, because if you throw your pearls before them, they will be trampled underfoot and might be tearing you apart in the meantime. So we've known that has happened with people when they try to help and be a good Samaritan, but I'm not saying not be a good Samaritan. I'm trying to say have wisdom and understanding and logic in your choices. So with that being said, Spaceman 2.0, tune in to the next episode, and I'll go over this law further. May you have a wonderful evening, and remember, this is the backwards 9/11 day, 10/10/2025. Spaceman 2.0, and out.